Joining me now, Article 3 Project founder, your favorite lawyer and mine, Mike Davis. Mike, thank you so much for being here. President Trump officially appealing the New York judgment today. What issues can the appeals court look at, and any idea on a time frame here?
Well, the appellate court should throw out this entire case because it's clearly unconstitutional. You had a Democrat New York Attorney General Tish James campaign on the fact that she was going to get Trump. She teamed up with this Democrat Manhattan judge, Arthur Engoron, who was a Democrat donor, who had a Democrat law clerk sitting on the bench with him, who was an operative of Chuck Schumer. And this judge ruled before the trial even began, before any witnesses or any other evidence, that Trump somehow committed fraud when he paid back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full, on time, as agreed, with interest. And then this judge, with a bench trial, no jury, just decreed that Trump somehow has to pay nearly $500 million in damages. This violates Trump's due process rights. This violates Trump's rights to not have an unconstitutionally punitive damages award entered against him. The damages award has to be tied to some sort of loss. There's no loss here.
How can that even be? And people ask me, because it's just such an affront to the law. It's an affront to due process and to justice. He very, respectfully requested some time to be able to get this done. And yet, nevertheless, it's just, they don't care. They're so far out on a limb. They don't even care, that they have no credibility, that this is so biased. It's all been predetermined. I mean, it was part of a campaign, promise. And then the amount far exceeded what even the DA was originally even asking for.
Yeah, I mean, this is just blatant Democrat lawfare and election interference on many fronts that we've been talking about for a long time. The 2 bogus impeachments, the 4 bogus indictments for non-crimes, the illegal unconstitutional gag orders. They're trying to bankrupt him for non-fraud. They're trying to bankrupt him with the Jean Carroll bogus defamation lawsuit. They're trying to disqualify him from the ballot. This is going to backfire. The American people need to say that we get to pick the president of the United States, not Democrat prosecutors and Democrat judges and Democrat juries and Democrat lawyers and Democrat hellholes like New York, D.C., and Atlanta.
Hellholes. It's really true. It's just disgusting. And you see where this is happening. It's so obvious that it's partisan, politics at its worst and lawfare. But like we said, if, he's just standing in the way. If they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone else. Let's talk about another winner. And by that, I mean loser. Alvin Bragg also wants a gag order in this sham case. What should be the Trump's team's response?
The Trump's team's response should be that Trump has a First Amendment right. If anyone on the planet has a First Amendment right to speak out against the judge, the court staff, the prosecutors, the witnesses in the process, it is a criminal defendant going through the criminal process. The Democrats have tried to put these illegal gag orders on Trump in all of these different criminal cases. It flips the Constitution on its head. The Constitution protects us from the government. It is a shield to protect us from the government. It is not a sword that the government can use to come after us. And the President Trump should immediately appeal this. This violates his First Amendment rights as a criminal defendant. This violates his First Amendment rights as a presidential candidate. These are bogus charges against him. They're trying to bring felony charges against President Trump for some campaign finance theory that the Soros-funded Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, concocted when Matthew Colangelo got sent from the number 3 office in the Biden Justice Department. The senior political appointee in the Biden Justice Department went to Matthew Colangelo's office to bring this unprecedented indictment against a former and likely future president. This was a businessman settling a nuisance claim. The prior Manhattan DA passed over this case. The Manhattan U.S. Attorney passed over this case. The Federal Election Commission passed over this case. Alvin Bragg himself passed over this case until the Biden operative got sent from the Biden Justice Department, Matthew Colangelo. This is lawfare. This is election interference.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Meanwhile, let's take a little trip down to another really challenged and tragic place, Fulton County. We're seeing more evidence that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis's testimony has been absolute, complete lies. We call that perjury. Isn't it time for the Georgia Attorney General to open up a criminal probe? Like, what is taking so long?
There's no question, Kimberly. And Marjorie Taylor Greene sent a criminal referral to Governor Brian Kemp and Attorney General Chris Carr in Georgia. They have statutory authority to open a criminal probe on this corrupt Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, and her boyfriend, Nathan Wade. Here's the bottom line. You know this, Kimberly, as a former prosecutor. Prosecutors cannot have a financial stake in a criminal prosecution. That is absolutely illegal. And that's what Fani Willis and Nathan Wade have in this unprecedented RICO prosecution against Trump. She's paying her boyfriend $250 an hour, $700,000 in counting, to meet with the Biden White House, including the White House counsel. He billed 24 hours in one day, and she's taking illegal kickbacks from her boyfriend in the form of these lavish trips to the Caribbean, to Napa, to Belize. This is absolutely illegal. And then she perjured herself. He perjured himself. There is subornation of perjury. There is bribery. There's gift ban violations.
They need to go to jail, let alone be disbarred. And let me tell you something. He's no Mike Davis. So, I mean, that guy's not even a good lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe, other than the fact that it's her boyfriend and she has a corrupt, illegal financial stake in this case, that's the only explanation why she would bring in this buffoon to run a RICO prosecution based upon a bogus legal theory against a former and likely future president, along with 18 others. And thank God for co-defendant Mike Roman. They messed with the wrong guy by indicting him. I know Mike Roman. He is a badass. I am so happy he's going on offense here.
Oh, good. I know. That's what we need. I mean, but they're so stupid. You know, they're felony stupid is what they are, okay? Because these guys, it's like a joke. It's like a kangaroo court down there. And how stupid and arrogant are they that they thought they were going to get away with this? Because they are not going to get away with it. One way or the other, there should be justice here, and they should never be allowed to practice law. 35 visits of Wade in Fani Willis's residence, okay? I know you're laughing. We're trying to keep a straight face here. First of all, I guess it must be the money, because what is he even doing going there? Not that he's a prize, but okay. So we have 12,000 text messages going back several years, but she wants us to believe that they didn't have any relationship until 2022. Well, I got a bridge I could sell you. Yeah,
she's absolutely lying. This is perjury. She had her assistant and good friend testify. Their relationship began in 2019. This Nathan Wade apparently led her transition team and helps pick her staff. And then you have all of these hookups at her house that they have cell phone geolocation data on that shows that he was there, like you said.
Love shack.
The love shack, 35 times, 12,000 text messages, 2,000 phone calls. I mean, it's just obvious that they're having an affair. But it's not the affair that's the legal problem. It's a moral problem, but it's not. The legal problem is that Fani Willis has an illegal financial stake in a criminal prosecution, which you cannot have.
No, you cannot. I mean, it's flat out illegal. This isn't even like one for interpretation. But let's talk about this and their little eat, pray, love stuff that they had going on. One worker at a Napa winery recalled that Willis was paying cash. And you remember how she kept saying, and she obviously went out of her way to, pay cash for these lavish trips. But didn't she say her defense was, well, it's a black thing? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, she said her Black Panther father taught his Black Panther cubs, or whatever the hell she is, Fani Willis, whatever the hell her name is, to
exactly
keep a whole bunch of cash laying around the house, like 6 months of cash laying around the house. Here's the explanation.
It's like Pablo Escobar. What's going on?
I like drug dealers and prostitutes. You need to keep six months of cash around your house. Here's the problem with old Fani Willis, Big Fanny. When she spent $6,000 or whatever it was to go on these trips with her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, she says she paid cash. Is there any ATM transaction? Is there any bank statement showing that she replenished this cash so she can follow her Black Panther father's advice and have 6 months of cash laying around the house? This is obviously a BS story. She's obviously lying. And this Kemp judge, who looks like he's 13 years old, he's going to have to make a decision here. Does he go with his former boss, Fani Willis, to whom he made a political donation, $150 donation, or does he follow the law? Does this Kemp judge allow this Kemp hatred of Trump distort justice so badly that this obviously corrupt prosecutor, Fani Willis, and her obviously corrupt boyfriend continued with their election interference in lawfare. This case needs to be dismissed. New prosecutors need to be brought in with independent judgment who are not corrupted by these illegal payments and these lies and this perjury. Remember, Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had 8 other attorneys in the Fulton County DA's office submit a filing in response to co-defendant Mike Roman's motion to dismiss. They knew they were lying. They included Nathan Wade's affidavit from his divorce proceeding, and Fani Willis and Nathan Wade submitted that to the court, to this Kemp judge. 8 other attorneys in that office are now in legal jeopardy because they submitted this. How does this office continue on this case? It cannot. And that's why Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr need to do their job, open a criminal probe, and get this case dismissed and sent to another prosecutor with fresh eyes, independent assessment of this case.
No, you're absolutely right. And meanwhile, here's a little juxtaposition. James Biden testified in front of the House Oversight Committee last week, and Hunter will appear before Congress this week. Biden controls the DOJ, but he doesn't control the state attorney general offices. So when you think about it, what's stopping them from prosecuting cases surrounding illegal Biden dealings, in their own jurisdictions?
Well, and that's just it, that the Republican DA should prosecute this Biden family corruption. I would say this. Remember, Joe Biden has his fingerprints on all 4 of these criminal prosecutions. Matthew Colangelo got sent from the Biden Justice Department to Alvin Bragg's office to bring the indictment against Trump, the first one ever. Mm-hmm. You had down in Georgia, you had Nathan Wade billing for his meetings with the Biden White House, including the Biden White House counsel, before Fani Willis brought her unprecedented indictments against Trump for this bogus RICO conspiracy theory. And then you had Jack Smith Jack Smith with the Jack Smith case. You had President Biden, through his deputy White House counsel, Jonathan Sue, working with the National Archives, the Biden Democrats of the National Archives, to waive President Trump's constitutional claim of executive privilege that presidents have had for 250 years. So in all 4 of these criminal indictments, two Jack Smith indictments, the Fani Willis indictment and the Alvin Bragg indictment, the President Biden has his fingerprints directly on all 4.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I just cannot wait, for there to be justice here and to get this resolved and get it right for, all Americans. Restore faith in law and order, in justice, in eliminating lawfare. And the only way it's going to happen is if Trump gets back in. That's just a fact.
That's exactly right, that this will be decided by American voters on November 5th, 2024. And during the Trump 47 administration, the Justice Department, the Attorney General, needs to appoint a special counsel to investigate this criminal conspiracy by these Democrat prosecutors and Democrat operatives to violate President Trump's civil rights and the civil rights of so many others. This is a criminal conspiracy, and they need to be held accountable.
It really is a criminal conspiracy. Well stated, as always. Agree with you. Counsel, I concur with you on all fronts. What a superstar. Hell of a guy. He could straighten this all out for us. Let's get Trump back in and find out. Article 3 Project founder Mike Davis, thank you so much.
Thank you.